Hey y'all, I'm Brer Sam, and this is one of my movie reviews. For this video, I am reviewing The Courtship of Eddie's Father, the film from 1963, starring Glenn Ford and Ron Howard. Yeah, Ron Howard was a child actor before he became a director. My father often calls him Opie Cunningham after his characters from The Andy Griffith Show and Happy Days. But in this film, he's a little kid. I think it was around the time he was in The Andy Griffith Show. He plays Eddie, a little boy. I think he's in the first grade. And his father, Glenn Ford, is widowed. And Eddie wants him to get remarried to their next door neighbor, played by Shirley Jones, aka Shirley Partridge from the Partridge Family. But the problem with that is Ford and Jones do not get along as well as Eddie would like. And eventually, Glenn Ford falls in love with another lady who Eddie does not particularly like, because she sort of gets in the way of their father-son time, and it's typical for a kid to think like that, I guess. And so that's the thing with Eddie's character here. He wants a new mother because he really misses his mother. I remember there's a scene where one of his fish dies and he's just screaming and screaming. And then eventually Shirley Jones' character says, "You're thinking about your mother, aren't you?" And I'm like, whoa, pretty much any death makes him think of that. And I guess it's understandable for a kid that young. And yeah, but not that Glenn Ford understands that. He just doesn't care. He loves his son, but he doesn't really listen to how he feels very much. That's kind of the basic concept of a neglecting father character, in a way. I don't know. It just sort of makes he just kind of makes it work, because you can tell that he really loves his son, and he does spend quality time with him, like giving him a birthday party and letting him join his date for dinner, and yeah, that's all right. Yeah, but eventually his infatuation with the other woman gets a little out of hand, and it makes Eddie run away, and it does teach Glenn Ford a lesson. It does. And it also teaches Shirley Jones a lesson that they're both they've both been married before, and they're afraid of a repeat performance of what happened in their previous marriage. And when you think about it, that would make them a perfect couple, but they don't get along. And despite it being a little complicated, my favorite thing about this movie is the relationship between Eddie and his father. Because Eddie is obviously looking out for his father, and his father, he loves him, but at the same time he's neglecting him a little bit because of his date. Just the way the relationship evolves in the film, it's very interesting. It's actually kind of funny how it took how it took the child running away to make Glenn Ford realize what he's done. He doesn't even punish Eddie for running away because it actually taught him something. And most people say it's not the child's job to teach their parents a lesson, but here it seemed like it was. I sort of like that. I also like Shirley Jones' character because Eddie really loves her and she really loves him, and so that's the thing. They love each other, but the fact that she doesn't get along with Glenn Ford just gets in the way of that. And the cast is also good, not just because of Ron Howard and Shirley Jones and Glenn Ford, but you also have Lee Merriweather as the receptionist at Glenn Ford's job. He works in the radio. And his coworker is played by Jerry Van Dyke, Dick Van Dyke's brother. And actually, he gets a story of his own where he falls in love with some redheaded girl. I can't remember who plays her, but I won't give too much away, but it is a funny romance. And you also get a 30-second appearance from Ron Howard's brother Clint. And also, I think you get an appearance from his father, Rance Howard, as well. Virtually anything Ron Howard did, even in movies he directed, it has at least one other member of his family involved in it. Like, for example, in Apollo 13, that's a movie he directed, but the rest of his family plays characters. You got Clint in Mission Control, their father as the Reverend, I think, and their mother as the old lady in the wheelchair. She was a funny character. But in this film, you get just Clint and Rance as like cameos. So the best way to describe this film is that it's standard but very interesting. I enjoy the cast. Ron Howard's performance was great. The scene where he reunites with his father after running away is great. I almost cried at that. His performance was so good, and I actually really felt for him. His performance was good. And they did make a TV show called The Courtship of Eddie's Father after this film, so that's gotta count for something. So The Courtship of Eddie's Father is an interesting film, and it's got a good cast, and it had some pretty emotional scenes. I liked it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!